Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today on another episode of the De Podcast. Today, we are fortunate enough to have a good friend of ours, Serouj Baghdassarian, who is a music producer originally from Lebanon, currently in Armenia, who we have the opportunity of speaking with about his work, about his recent projects, and about any upcoming projects. So, Paregar Serouj.
Pare, thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. I think we'll start right off very simple. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from? I know I gave a quick 1 second introduction, but I think it's important for our followers to know a little bit about your experience, your education background, if any, your work experience, and what got you into this industry.
Sure. So I'm originally from Beirut, Lebanon. I moved to Armenia around 4 years ago, and I've been actually living in between Lebanon and Armenia. I often go back and stay for a few months since my community is there, my family, they are all in Beirut. So I'm also a website designer. That's my daily life.
So that's your expertise, that's your specialization, is your website design.
That's my source of income. So, yeah, I've been making websites since maybe 10, 15 years. And actually, music is my hobby. So I do just for my passion. But recently, in the past few years, I've been developing it further to make it even more professional. And as you know, I was working on the concert project. So in very brief, I think that's about me.
Just to follow up, I know you said music is a hobby, but I think it's important to let our followers know that you brought a different twist to Armenian music, let's say.
Dekran, let me just say, the first time I got introduced to C-ROUGE is I've known you over, listening to your vibes on YouTube. It was the Yaman, one of the first songs. Yeah. 14? What is it? A lot of years ago. Yeah. Because that was the first time I was a student in London, and I heard that song. I was like, wow, what is this? This is a completely different twist to the Armenian traditional music that we've known. And I think it's important that people like you bring music like this, even for youngsters to be able to kind of, okay, we're not youngsters anymore, but even for us, it's pleasant to hear, and it's a different vibe altogether and a different twist to the Armenian traditional music.
Yeah, the whole idea started back then. I wanted to have something new and to grab the attention of the youth, Armenian youth, as well as non-Armenians internationally, that they know nothing about the Armenian music, Armenian songs. So I was trying to create some kind of a mixture between our traditional cultural music and electronic music like that.
Yeah, of course.
I was heavily involved or heavily in love with EDM, electronic dance music, trance, house, techno. So I
Like all of us, I think back then it was trans world. Yeah.
And a lot of DJs were coming to Lebanon. So I was influenced by DJ Tiesto, Armin van Buuren, a lot of many more. And by hearing their sounds, I wanted to create my own sound, which I explained, mixing the traditional with the electronic.
And I think if anyone have not heard of that song, please, even now, if you listen to it now, it's still in trend. At least that's my personal opinion, and I really enjoy it every time I listen to it. Of course, the new ones that you've released are phenomenal. They're fantastic, but even that, it's, what is it now? But I think it's 14 years. I'm not sure.
10 to 15 years.
Yeah, but I think it's somewhere that.
Serouj, what was the first song that you did? And I guess leading to that first song, which Armenian songs or singers influenced you to get to that song?
It was Grum by Omidas.
Yeah, wow.
And I was watching Ararat movie. I think it was in the introduction that starts with the duduk and Groom starts Safari. So it hit me really emotional back then in the cinema, and then I was at the concert for DJ Tiesto and he played Adagio for strings for the first time.
Wow.
It was the premiere.
Was that in Lebanon?
No, but
Yeah.
maybe 10, 15,000 people. It was a huge event. So, and on that moment, I thought, why we can't, and then I had the idea to remix Grung and make it something similar to that sound, which was very energetic and uplifting electronic music. And I did that, and a lot of people gave me good feedback. Obviously, there were a little bit of controversial thing. I mean, because Grung is often
Very sad.
related to the Armenian genocide.
Very serious, yeah.
It was a bit risky, but the idea was to promote the Armenian music and to the, as I said, to the youth and especially non-Armenians. And I think back then it worked.
Very good.
So, what role do you think the Armenian music plays in preserving culture and preserving the identity, the Armenian identity? And how do you think, what do artists need to do to kind of preserve that in today's reality, that everything is so fast, everything is changing so quickly, our culture, our national identity is in risk.
And Serouj, I just want to add that it's a very good question because right now we consider Armenian culture, identity, and our history a very important part of our lives. And there's a lot of great musicians, great producers, and great singers out there. But I feel like there's very few that are holding innovative methods or methodology in order to nerkravel and grab the attention of the upcoming generation and give that twist. And I feel like that's something you've accomplished, which is why we're so interested in having you. So
Yeah, I think that should be our priority now. Whoever can give to Armenia should not even hesitate and start now, not tomorrow, now, because as you said, our whole identity is in kind of danger and crisis, and we as individuals should do anything we can to help and prevent this.
I think we all have a role to play here.
Everybody has a role. Myself, I'm doing it with music. You can do with this podcast. Someone else can do with whatever you can, with food, with art, with any kind of method, but please do it. So in my case, I think music is one of the most important ones in this step, because it reaches globally to everybody, and not just Armenians, but the whole world. And music is in our daily lives. Not that there is nobody that doesn't enjoy music. So I think music can reach emotionally and quickly to anybody. It's very accessible and it's emotional, as I said. So, but you have to be creative, innovative, as you said. Otherwise, if you just stick to the traditional, it might not be as pleasant as thinking about new ways to approach the new generation. Not just the new generation, actually. Music is for everybody, any age.
And I think it's important to use music to kind of, as an ambassador, to bring foreigners as well, introduce them to the Armenian culture and everything that is Armenian. Because it's not only our music, it's, we're rich with culture.
Universal language.
Yeah, absolutely.
but also a lot of these Armenian folk songs have a history that they tell too. A lot of these songs tell a story about either a victory or some challenge that the Armenian people have faced, and it becomes another opportunity to educate the people that are listening to this music too. That's why I really like your style too, because when you talk about when the songs' names are even just Musada or Giligya, and these are very people. I'm sure they're asking, what are these? The songs, these sounds obviously have meanings. They're symbols, and the more they look into it, the more they realize why it's the Musa Dabki, or what victory we're celebrating, or what part of the Armenian homeland that we're commemorating. And so that's why I think there's an extra level to the meaning of music.
Yeah, every piece of music I post on YouTube, I have the smooth description for you that explains the background of the song, as more or less in brief. So I think that's very important to educate people what's that song about, what that music is about, and it's very important to promote our culture in a whole package, like a good artwork, the music itself, the description. So it's like a whole package, not just put the music out there and that's it. And also, as you said, every music I try to do, the approach is victorious. Like, not, I don't like to play the victim while making the music. We no longer should become victims. That's why I think emotionally a lot of people contact me, they feel touched and a lot of emotions, but victory, we're talking about victory, not being victims.
It resonates with a lot of people, and we'll get to the concert too. But before that, I just want to ask, what were some of the challenging ones that you had to create? Like, which songs to you were either very hard to finish, or they left more of an impact on you than some of the? I know I'm sure they're all meaningful, but I'm curious to see which ones were a little bit more special than some of the others. Like, obviously the Groom one was your first.
If I can just add, excuse me, if I can just add, what's the balance? So, okay, we're doing something modern, but we want to keep a balance between tradition and also creativity. So most of your songs are very traditional, very emotional songs. Okay, and I'm sure there's a lot of challenges, but how do you balance that? How do you keep the traditional and the modern together, the creative and all that?
The balance is the most important thing for me, and everybody asks me this question actually. So what I try to do is have a structure of the song that more or less have everything. For example, it starts with a very emotional, if I'm talking about, let's say, Musalir Dakke, it starts very emotional, romantic piano and synthesizers and pads, and then everything stops. And then I bring the Zulna and the Kopal, the whole, and everything turns upside down to the traditional. So we go back to the history. And then
It's a journey. Every song is a journey.
excuse me?
It's a journey.
It's a journey.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a story. It's a journey. So then it's it progress slowly. New elements comes in, orchestral elements, electronic sound, very subtle electronic sound, and then another drop comes in, which is also a bit romantic. So it's like a twist of stories. And then I try to bring more elements. It could be rock, it could be a bit electronic, but it's important to have a creative structure. So what I try to do is change a little bit from the original one. The melody doesn't really change. The main melody doesn't change much. It's just a little bit. I also change the chords a little bit. Some people ask me, why do you do that? But if I keep them as they are, then what's my role here? So that's my input, that's my creativity. I want to make it more cinematic.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important to keep the balance, not change too much, but yet bring all the elements together and glue it so it would sound like a story.
So going back to Dikran's question now,
What were some of the hard songs that you had to,
or which one is the hardest? Let's simplify the question.
Hardest could be Heroes of Musadar, Teleyaman. Teleyaman was also a bit hard because I didn't want to present it as I said,
a slow Victor?
like a sad song.
Mhm.
I wanted to make it sound grand, have an ending that shows our resilience, our victorious part, for like that approach. So it was very challenging to make the last part strong and emotional. So I changed it so many times and I get there. But each song has its difficulty. I'm very picky when it comes to live recordings, the surna, the duduk, and so on. Sometimes I record it twice or even 3 times, so it would sound the way I want. And I do a lot of heavy processing editing. Every song is heavily processed. Sometimes I start working on a project and after working a month, let's say, I keep it aside and then I revisit it like 5-6 months later. For example, Heroes of Musadar, I started in, I don't know when I started, but I remember I finished 1 year later. So it was aside. I just started and put it aside until it takes months, 3 months, 4 months of work, because as I said, I'm really picky when it comes to the whole sound.
Are you Musa too, by the way?
No, but
No?
I
was just curious.
basically reading of their culture, stories, and
Of course.
huge influence on me.
No, that's because that was interesting to me because there's not one, but there's multiple Musa related songs.
2, and I might do another one as well, but let's give a chance to.
But is it something that, like, even before you were into this music thing, like you learned about Musa and it influenced, I don't know, their culture influenced you, or their music and their story influenced you?
Resilience.
The resilience.
Story, the heroic resistance, and I think that's really.
And I think that's why at the concert it was one of the songs that was done more than once, because you could, I feel like it has a beat that you can do so many times.
Because it feels like you are at the water and it boils you, and the ending, it gets higher and higher and higher. It keeps adding the elements until the dive step part kicks in. And that's the part where the electronic joins the full orchestra, the choir, the zurna, and everything blows up.
Musa and dubstep, like it's like a combination that you don't hear like too often.
Dikran, which one's your favorite one?
I feel like I want to say the Musa ones, but it's too obvious of an answer. It's so many people's favorites, but one of the Musa ones is probably my favorite too.
Yeah.
If I were to say second, probably Giliga, because my Armadner are also from Giliga, and that has a special place for me too.
I'm gonna put you on the spot. Which one's yours?
Which one?
Yeah.
Is your favorite?
Favorite? Oof, that's a really hard question.
You have to choose one.
Well, can I select 3? I said, but obviously, Heroes of Musadar is one of my favorites, and I kind of also like the Dabki one, because for the first time I incorporated a rock music in it, guitars and drums and choir, and well, each one has its own. It's really hard to select. No, it's like asking me choose one of your kids.
No, that's a good. I'm okay with that answer. But I think now
You only said 2. I'm still looking for the third one. It's fine.
you don't need to. But I think now we can move on to your recent project. Recently, you had a very sold out. One of your recent successes is a concert with the Armenian Symphonic Folk, right? both Hargop and I were in attendance, and
was
we
just
were very moved by the whole process, because it wasn't just it was a choir, it was a series of musicians, it was you in the back, it was just all these different pieces to put together this big show, and it was very moving. And so I think we wanted to talk a little about that and what it took to maybe prepare that and get to that level. It was your first one, Jen. First.
That was the first one. First of all, allow me to give you this little gift, the souvenir from the concert.
Very nice.
And that's a thank you for your support.
For all everyone have to see it. Thank you, Serouj.
You're welcome. Thank you for your support during the whole process.
Let me just add that Serouj has written our intro and outro for our podcast. Well, this is the first time me and you meet, so thank you very much. It's an honor, to meet you, and it's an honor that we have someone so talented, Armenian, to write our intro and our outro. For us, it's a joy. It's a joy to see that there's people like you out there, that they're sending the right messages, they're doing the right things. And let me just say that at your concert, I've been to many concerts, and I can tell you many. I've never had so many shivers throughout my body, throughout the concert. It was just phenomenal. The way that the whole place was just buzzing. It was really, really nice. I even had phone calls from people that, they were from the United States, that they were in the room. Their family was in the room, telling me that their children and etc. They called their father, telling them that, Dad, it's amazing. Dad, and these are people that, they're not, brought up in the same manner as we are, that, traditional music and, all those things are, I'm talking about children that, they're more in a different environment. They're brought up in a different environment, and suddenly they want to know more about the songs, more about Armenia and etc. It's just, I think that's what you aim to do, and it happened.
That was my aim, to make a difference in the musical scene and to move people emotionally and mentally, even physically. But to be honest, I didn't expect to be that big. The reaction of the audience, the post-concert messages and calls, and it was really out of this world for me. I mean, on stage, I was a bit busy with, everything, but it took me a while to realize what's really happening or what happened. Probably the next day, until the next day, I couldn't understand what's happening. Next day in the morning, I was watching the reels everybody posted or the stories on Instagram, and I couldn't take it anymore, and I started crying. Yeah. Too much emotions, and I was suppressing all the time since months, and it all happened like it was like a minute for me. So I couldn't process everything. Until now, I'm having a hard time to process this, but a lot of things happened that night, and I'm really thankful for
Yeah.
I'm all of words.
And it was in collaboration with the Armenian State Symphonic Orchestra and Hamaskain, right?
Yes, so we collaborated with the Armenian State Symphony Orchestra, Armenian ethnic instrumentalists, choirs, and Hamaskain commemorated the forum's 30th anniversary during this event.
Very nice. And so, I guess, regarding the symphonic folk, how long did it take you to prepare for something like this?
I started this in 2019, the
How does it-
project, and I remember the first email I sent to the conductor, Mr. Sergei Sembatian, back then, and I sent some of the musics I had. And he replied quickly saying it was very interesting and we could collaborate. So, but then the COVID started, the war and the Lebanese war, so everything affected the timeline. And I also wasn't fully ready for the concert. I had maybe back then 8 songs, 9 songs. So it took me a few more years to complete and have 16, 17 songs. So we can have at least an hour and a half show. And also during the process, one of the key elements of the concert is Martino Lechanian translated all my arrangements to scores. That took a lot of time. So every note I arranged, I work everything by ear, by the way. So he was the man behind the orchestrations. So he could translate every single idea I has arranged that you can hear on YouTube into a playable, orchestra playable song. So there's a lot of preparations. There were a lot of preparations, but the last 4 months were really intense. Every single day was a struggle for me because I was doing a lot of work on my own. Even the poster, even the ideas, so many things that I can make a list because I want to have my input in every single place, even the lights, even the colors, because I have a vision and I want to make this vision come true. But thankfully everything went almost as I want. But people's reaction, it was something different.
To follow up, based on the concert and I guess your work in the last few years, have you seen a lot more people interested in this type of music? Like, have you seen, maybe based on your follows or maybe based on people sharing, like, has there been a huge increase in this music, in this type of music?
Yeah, actually, this is a kind of a music that I thought it's not gonna grab too many, like a big number of audience, but I was wrong. Because it's way easier to grab the attention of commercial type of music, rabbis and so on, than classical. And from the start, I wasn't really encouraged to do this concert, to be honest. A lot of people said, this might not work, you cannot feel the seats, maybe one floor, not the second floor. But the last few weeks, it was proved the other way. So yeah, I think there is the need and the demand of this type of music, which is innovative and new, a new sound, and yet it keeps the audience engaged in the sense of emotionally, as I said, even physically, the dances and so on.
Yeah, and I want to add to that, just to give our followers an idea, the venue was at the Garden Demircan, a sports complex. This is a Hamalir, where it's a complex where it's like an auditorium setup. You know, there's 2 floors, there's different sections. Everyone is seated like they're about to watch a beautiful performance. But the music was so captivating and inspiring that in those tight areas, in those like areas, like the youth got up to dance. You know, where there was space to dance, second floor, first floor. In fact, they got up to dance, and that was, and we're just sitting there whenever Coach Aria and the Yar Kushta is about to go on, and all of a sudden you see one by one, like people leaving their seats to go like join.
Because even before that,
People asked me, was this planned? And no, it wasn't.
Well, that was a very cool part. That was a very beautiful part, because
I think I'm gonna expand that part next plan a bit.
Because I was thinking, I'm like, are people gonna dance? I feel like everyone's gonna be in the mood to dance. You know, they're gonna hear the Yar Kushta and even the Dab Kitchen. They're gonna be like, man, I want to even dance in my seat. But the fact that they made like a whole wrap around in that front area, that was amazing. Yeah, full circle, and then we look up and we're looking upstairs, and everyone is like, just as like, there's another big shushpa up.
It was a huge spot in the whole side.
Yeah. So that was very cool to see.
Serouj, do you think we can have like a little what's next what's coming. Maybe we can be the first ones to announce it over our podcast.
Definitely, this is just a start. It is challenging, to be honest, but especially now that the first one was a success, now the second one has to be much better.
Much bigger as well.
Bigger and better. So I don't agree to do the same
Yeah.
in terms of everything, technical part, and even I want to add a few more songs. So the next one is gonna be a bit more challenging in the technical aspect.
Yeah.
But now that we have the audience and the interest, I think at least that part will be a little bit easier.
So now that you said interest, has it been any interest in others kind of joining you and I don't know, like new collaborations that you might have, that people that you haven't collaborated with other than the symphonic, that they've asked, they've seen now that, wow, this, you're doing amazing work. So have there been any suggestions?
I had a couple of serious messages and to bring the show to outside Armenia. Oh, I think eventually we'll get there, but before that, I would love to repeat the show in Armenia. I'm aiming to do it in April, so we can have enough time for shop preparations. And now that we are also editing the video and the audio, so I can learn from the mistakes and make the next one perfect in every sense. But my next dream is to do this in Lebanon. So I'm aiming April, a repeat in Armenia, but the summer in Lebanon.
Wow.
It's gonna be really hard logistic-wise, but nothing is impossible. I have to believe that it will happen, so it will.
And I guess
Dikram, maybe we can go and do a podcast on Lebanon.
I would love to go to Lebanon for the show, to be honest. I think it'll be in a very different energy, There was, I'll be honest, this last performance, it had a mixture of street guys and locals, which is very unique with audience. Yeah. So
It was like a bridge between.
yeah, exactly. And I'm happy to see that, because that's also evident in your work too. Your work has stuff that, like, it relates to the Spute guy, and it also relates to somebody from the Hellenic. So I think that you're able to reach those audiences, and I feel like showing that in Lebanon will be like a cool next step too.
Yeah.
I mean, other than that, I feel like, unless Hagop has anything else to add, I wanted to ask if there's any message you have to other young music producers, people interested in this field. What would you tell them if they also wanted to get into it, or they're interested in being involved?
I think the most important thing is to be patient, because those kind of results takes years of really, really, really hard work. I've been doing this since 15 years, as I said, and it was always underestimated. Like I received a lot of positive feedback on social media, but there was nothing really serious until the concert happened. So when the concert happened, everything was suddenly more serious to everybody. So during all the past years, it was really a struggle for me, because at many points I was thinking to change the style of what I'm doing, go back to electronic, or even completely stop. But I never did that, thankfully. Because all of a sudden you see a hit song on YouTube, which is, I'm not gonna say a bad song, but like,
Let me just say this, rubbish. I'll say it. Yeah.
say Rabi is pop, and then you see it was 10 million view, 20 million.
Yeah, that's what it means. That's it.
And then you realize that you're working really hard all these years and try to bring a change with our traditional music and everything, and barely had 100,000 views, 200,000 views, which is still good.
Yeah.
But reading all the comments, every time I stepped back, I went to YouTube, I listened to the music, and while listening to my arrangements, I was reading the comments so many times. They were not just like emojis and hard and good job, and no, each comment most of the time were really touching. So hundreds of similar comments and messages, those really made a difference, to be honest. So thank you everybody who supported me in the past. And by reading that all over again and again, I realized that it's not just a bravo message. There is a lot more in that. So what I'm trying to say is that you have to be patient, and after years of hard work, actually you're gonna get result, but you have to be, you have to set a goal. Without the goal, without the vision, you're not gonna realize anything.
And guys, you can follow Serouj on all social media platforms, and you can even add his music to your Instagram stories. It's on Spotify. Like, you make sure to follow him and use his music to your stories, because I think that's one of the
Always with the music.
yeah, definitely.
And again, thank you very much for being here. No, really, it's been a pleasure. I think it's been one of those 30 minutes, 40 minutes that we've had that it's just gone so smoothly. You know, for us, we listen to your music, we like your music. You know, it's always a pleasure to actually, you know, meet with the people that are actually making this music, and hopefully this platform will be used to promote your music even more. You'll get even more listeners, because our, you know, our national identity, our culture, at this point of time where we are, we need all the help that we can get, and people like you can help us promote that. And I hope to April will be just, you know, actually July, you know, your concert in July is just the start, and, you know, will be more and more even in April in Lebanon or wherever you decide to do your next concerts. You know, we'll be in good health, so we were able to kind of come and be there and support you. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Serouj.
I appreciate that.
You know, as I said, it's been absolute pleasure. Thank you, really.
Thank you.
I would like, you know, to tell everyone, you know, follow us on all platforms. We're on Spotify, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, and all the other. Please follow us and subscribe and listen to our podcasts.